Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. In this video, we are going to be discussing about how to create a system which is effectively able to do keyword search and also handle potential spelling mistakes from the user. So let's get started. What I've done is I've opened a Colab notebook here and I've set up some of the things already so that we can focus on the real stuff. I've prepared this dummy list of documents. This would basically emulate the kind of documents that we will be seeing in the real world. And then I've imported two functions. One is class and another is function for computing cosine similarity, and one is doing vectorization. Now, just a little bit of introduction of TF-IDF based vectorizer. The way it works is you take your document and you vectorize it in form of term count, term frequency, and it is not stopping there. It also adjusts those frequencies based on how rare or how frequent those words are. So intuitively what it does is it looks at, for example, machine, and it sees, first of all, it checks the frequency of that machine within this document, within first document, and then this is going to be term frequency, and then it will adjust or kind of weight it down or up corresponding to how rare or how frequent that word is. Because if, let's say, if I'm looking at a word of is, you can see is highlighted in almost all the document. It means it is not that important to distinguish the document. That is why what TF-IDF does is it penalizes the is, and so that its weight or rather I should say its TF-IDF value goes down. Okay, and then cosine similarity is something that we are going to be using to compute the similarity between two vectors. So essentially what happens is, in TF-IDF based vectorizer, we take our document, each of our document, and we convert it into a form of vectors. So without doing any like further talking, I think I should be starting with coding so that you can see what exactly do we get. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll probably start by creating a model instance of TF-IDF. Okay, rather first of all I should run it, and then I'll create this instance. And after creating this instance, what I can do is I can call fit and transform on my documents. And what this will do is it will return a sparse matrix. So I can call it X. Let's run it. Now, after the model is fit, what we can do is we can look at the feature names. Okay. So I can call get features names output. And if I run this, we get these feature names. Now, if you see this, and if I check the shape of this, it's 86. What does that mean? That means my each of my documents will be having a vector of shape 86. So let's try to print X. Currently it won't print anything because the X is a sparse matrix. So what we can do is okay, let me talk about sparse matrix. What sparse matrix allow you to do is it allow you to store the matrix, high dimensional matrix, in a efficient manner so that it is not printing by default all the elements. Okay, so the idea is that in sparse matrix, and I think I should not talk more about it because it will take away from the main core idea of this video. Because what sparse matrix it does is it just gives you a matrix which has lots of zeros and very few non-zero entries. What you can do is you can call a toArray method, and you see you can't even see any of the filled entry, right? So this is what it does. And if I check the shape of this array that we get, let me copy this and check the shape. You see, this is 14. 14 means what? We have got 14 documents, and for each document I'm getting a vector of 86 dimension. Okay, I hope you get this idea. Now let's talk about this feature names. Where are these feature names coming from? So what essentially TF-IDF is doing is, it is taking your text document and it is breaking these words and it is getting the unique words, and each word becomes your feature. Okay, and in another words you can say each word becomes your keyword which user can search upon. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's first of all delete these cells which where we have printed these stuff. Okay, now I want to set up my keyword search query. Okay, let's search a query, maybe uh, one query for Python programming. So I want to see how many articles are related to Python programming, and then later we will search other queries as well. So the first thing is we need to we need to basically transform this query into a vector representation. How can I do that? I can take my same model which I trained on my training data, or rather I should say trained on my documents, and I'll do transform. And this time I'm only doing transform because I've already fitted the model on the documents. Okay, so if I run this, now I will have a query vector, and again this is also going to be a compressed vector, but we can see its basically two array representation, right? So this is the array representation. You see some of the entries are filled. What are these entries? These entries, if you check its index, these entries might be corresponding to Python and programming, because within our feature Python must be coming here and then programming must be coming here, right? So Python and programming are coming together. The reason for this is because both words starts with P, and the way sklearn has created this feature is by sorting those alphabetically. Okay, they starts from A and ends with Z if we have any Z, if we have any words with starting with Z. So now that we have this query vector, what we can do is we can compute cosine similarity. So cosine similarity, we can pass query vector and the x. X is the original documents transformed. Now if I run this, you see most of the cosine similarities are 0, but we are getting some similarities as non-zero. Now usually in your situations when you have you are dealing with millions and thousands of documents, you won't be seeing this kind of situation. You will be seeing all the entries as filled. So that is why we need to sort it. But before sorting it, if you notice, this is actually a two-dimensional array, so we need to flatten it first. Okay, I can flatten this by calling the flatten. Now we are having one dimensional. Now what I can do is I can store it in similarities, and then I can do similarities.argsort. What I want is I want those entries. So basically I don't want to sort it on entries. I want to get the indexes. So if I run this, what it has done is, let me run similarity as well. What it has done is it has sorted the similarities, and then it is giving you the index of the order. But here if you see, it is giving you first as 0. 0 means first value. First value is 0. I don't want to necessarily sort it based on lower to higher. I want reverse. So what I can do is I can simply call this Python constructor, and this will reverse the operation. So now it's saying 5 is the largest entry, which means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it indeed is the largest entry. Now what I can do is I can so for example, your search system might be configured in a way that only returns say top 5 entries. So I can define a variable, let's say top results to return maybe 5, and then I can put this here, top results to return, and then I can store this into a variable called top IDs. And if I run this, now I have top IDs. Why do I need top ID? Because this can help me reference back my original document. Okay, so now I can do a loop. So for I in IDs, I can probably print my document. So documents I, and also scores, similarities of I. And if I run this, IDs, okay, so top IDs it is. So now we can see for the query Python programming, we are getting first result as Python programming is widely used, and then second result also. Why? Because programming is there. You see programming. And in the third document, because since these results are coming from a mathematical models, they are trying to return something, but it does not make sense, because in keyword search you match exactly, you don't match the semantic of the word or sentences. So you match the first one exactly and match the second one. Now here is where the catch will happen. Let's do one thing. Let's first of all clean up this code, okay, so that we can iterate upon ideas. I'll paste it here, and I'll delete these cells, and I'll copy this as well, and I'll paste it here. I'll cut it, and I'll put it here. So now I have a cell where I can iterate upon. Okay, so let's delete this. Now let me try one thing. Okay, let me misspell the Python and also programming, and let's run this. You see, suddenly everything is lost. With the Python and programming, it is not able to search it properly, and that's where the second part of my discussion is. The second part of my discussion is, how do I fix this issue? How can I create a more robust TF-IDF based or a system which is more robust than keyword search? Although what I'm about to create is also going to be a keyword search, but it is going to be an intelligent kind of keyword search. Let's come here, or maybe I can do one thing. I can create a new cell, maybe handling spelling mistakes. Now how can we do that? Let's copy this model. This time what we will do is, so by default what TF-IDF vectorizer does is, it creates these features which are words, exactly words. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is, I want to, so there is a parameter called analyzer. Now I want to analyze the documents as characters, not as words. By default it is words. Okay, so now I can call this model as model character. But there is a problem. Let's see what is the problem. So now I have model character. Let's do X model transform as, let me run this. Now let's, oh sorry, something I should have called this model character. Now let me call this model dot get feature names out. You will see something interesting. Now what it has done is, let me tell you what exactly it has done. So if I check my X dot to array, it will make you it will basically clear your doubts. So what I have done is, I have printed the first array, and first array corresponds to which document? This document. Okay, let me print out this array. Okay, this document side by side. Okay, so this is the document. Now it is doing a character level study. So for example, it is not looking at machine, but rather M. Now M is where? M, the index of M is starting with space and then ABC up to M. M means what? M means it would be, I guess, 13. It means it is giving, okay, so okay, let me tell you again. So what it is doing is, first entry is space. So corresponding to space, it is giving this much weight. Why? Because there are so many spaces here, right? So essentially the idea is that it is doing character level study. For A, I've got many A's, like A here, A here, A here, and so on and so forth. You see, you get this idea. But this is not what I want to do. Apart from analyzer, I want to pass a argument called n-gram range. Now n-gram range allow you to specify how many character words you want to create. So something interesting and intelligent is going to happen. Suppose I want to create a n-gram range of 2 to 9, and if I run this, your feature count will increase a lot. And if I run this as well, and now if I print the get feature count, now see what happens. It is starting to extract features of length 2. So what it will do is, it will start with this MA, and then AC, and then CH, and it will go up to end, and then it will start to extract features up to 3, which means MAC, ACH, and then CHI, and then up to 9. 9 means what? It will go up to machine and space and L. You get this idea. So exact n-gram range, the exact numbers of n-grams you want to create, that will depend upon your documents. But let's start with this. Now let me run this. Let's run this and let's delete this. Now let's check its shape. How many features are we looking at? It will increase a lot. So this is one problem with this approach, that within this 14 documents, it increased the feature count to 4594. But this should not be a problem, because this is going to store vectors in a sparse format, which is not going to take up much memory. Okay, so now let's try handling this query again, but now with this time we will be having, instead of model, this model character. Let me now paste it here, and the cosine, rest of the code I guess will remain same. Let's run this. You see, immediately we get something interesting. It is able to capture Python programming as well. It is able to capture the second document which has programming. Still, right now also, it is a keyword based, but it is much more sophisticated. It is looking at so many different combinations. Now even if I remove O and maybe remove some more words, and if I run this again it is able to, the score is going to decrease, that's for sure, but that does not matter in real world application. In real world application, what we want to do is, we want to showcase the relevant results, and this kind of use case is going to be really important for, let's say, somebody who is having a restaurant or maybe a cafe, and they want to build a simple search around their products, and people might come to their application and they might want to search for some items that they have had in past, just out of their memory. So in those situations they might type it incorrectly. In those situations, this kind of system, and usually cafes and restaurants don't have much products. Okay, so we can build such a system very reliably on a simple machine, on a even on a 1 GB machine. Okay, 1 GB RAM machine. So I hope it makes sense now, right? And it goes up to, like, you see, we provided a n-gram range of 2. Now let me do something very wild. Let me remove pi and pr, and let's see what do we get. Okay, now you see, pi, uh, with pi, it is saying that this is the document which is the top relevant one. But again, it did not mean that it did not list the Python programming. It did list. That the only thing was, in query there was not much information. Okay, but if, let's say, if I give maybe wide, the widely wi, it will again re-rank. You see, it will again re-rank the first document, the relevant document. So I think that would be it for this video. In this video, what we have discussed is a simple keyword search implementation using TF-IDF vectorizer, and with its default parameters, which does the vectorization on words. And then we looked at how we can enhance this system by looking at TF-IDF at a character level, and in conjunction with n-grams of different orders. Okay, so that, in my opinion, offers a much more robust solution for handling spelling mistakes. I hope you understood and liked what I've discussed. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you want me to cover anything specific, please let me know. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.